Welcome to day 11 of our 21 days of overcoming the stronghold of unforgiveness. I wonder how it's been for some of you. Some of you have commented, you have sent me DMs, so I know it has been profitable. I'm really curious to hear how the previous, conversations have gone. I know that we were all going to reconcile. So DM me, comment, let me know how it's going, let me know how you're feeling, let me know if you're still strong to do this, but I want to encourage you to keep going. So today we're going to talk about reconciliation as promised. For these couple of days, we're going to focus on reconciliation. So today's topic is the first knock is just as important as the thousandth knock. So the first knock is just as important as the thousandth knock. So when you're working on breaking a rock, imagine hitting it over and over and over to break it. And it feels futile the first 100 times until it finally breaks. Imagine the joy when that rock finally breaks into 1,000 smithereens. Now, Tim reminded me about something my uncle or our Uncle Sonnyboy says, and he says the first knock is as important as the thousandth knock that will finally break the rock. So Tim was reminding me that the first time you try something is as important as when you've done it 1,000 times and you're an expert at it, and now you get the results quicker. I hope you understand where I'm going with this. So without the first knock on that rock, the thousandth knock will not happen. So the first knock is as important. It may feel like what you're doing is useless and has no effect, but I want you to know, keep going, keep knocking, and don't give up. Because all of those actions are culminating to eventually breaking the rock. What am I saying? The first time you have that conversation of reconciliation, that awkward conversation, it may feel like you are, speaking to a brick wall or speaking to a situation that is never going to change, right? That it may be easier to just walk away. That first, second, third, fourth conversation might feel futile, but I want you to know, keep going. Keep having the reconciliation conversations, the tough conversations, the uncomfortable conversations, in order to get us to a place where we are reconciled. The first knock is as important as the thousandth knock that eventually breaks the brick or breaks the rock. Reconciling is hard because it brings in us into contact with what we have done with others or what we have done to others. And it forces us to understand where others are coming from. It is messy business. So reconciliation is messy business. And if any of you have gone on to do some of those action points we have put for ourselves, I'm sure you agree that, oh my God, I tried to have a reconciliation conversation and it blew up. Because why? It is messy business. It forces you to look at, oh my goodness, look at myself. Is this really how I've made someone feel? That's why it's messy. You've got to be willing to do the work if the relationship means a great deal to you. If that relationship is important to you, you've got to be willing to do the work. You've got to be willing to do the messy business. Remember, we talked about how quick it is to forget if you were the offender, and how long it takes for those who've been offended to forget. We see it all the time in society right now. When you look at the Truth and Reconciliation Commission, 1994, I'm sure some of the people who were the offenders, the apartheid regime, are thinking, guys, get over it. It's been 4 years, 1990, we stopped doing that stuff. Why are you still hurt by it? But even today, 28 years later, however many years later, there are still people who are hurting from the pain of apartheid. Because why? It left a scar. It left a wound. There are noticeable things that people can pick and say that is a direct link to apartheid. That is as a direct result of apartheid. That is why it's hard for the people who've been hurt to get over things easily and quickly. So, as the people who are responsible for causing that hurt, it is important for you to say, wow, for me, I moved on quickly. Obviously, you don't have the wound, right? I moved on quickly, but what can I do to help my brother, my sister, my wife to get to a point where they truly forgive me, or they forget, or we begin to live nice with each other. We begin to live well with each other. I promise you that is not going to happen until you decide to have that hard conversation of reconciliation, right? Because if somebody is looking, if let's use the apartheid regime for example, somebody is living in a township right now, it is as a direct result of that oppressive action of removing people and putting them in townships where the yard is 100 square meters, right? They come to town, they visit their friends, it's 2,000 square meter yards, big houses, big roads, amenities everywhere, parks everywhere, schools everywhere. Like, they look and they see a direct linkage to what was done to them and to how they are living right now. So it's important for us to do that messy work of reconciliation. It's not taking us back, like, why don't you just forget? No, it's helping us to move forward. That's what reconciliation does. Now, even the offender, we've got to do the offended, we've got to do the work. Give the grace, give the benefit of the doubt. Try to see things from even the offender's perspective. It's hard, I know it. Like, what could have possibly made you to hurt my feelings like that? But reconciliation and sitting down gives the opportunity for the person to say, actually, what I meant is this. This is not how I meant it. This is not what I said. Or because of the extenuating situation or circumstances, words came out of my mouth that I didn't mean. You see how important reconciliation is? You can't rush it. You can't make it futile. It is not useless because it affords both parties to understand. And when we understand each other, it becomes easier to be happy with each other. Remember, reconciliation is not forgiveness, but we said sometimes it facilitates the forgiveness because the healing of the wound becomes better. And we also said forgiveness is internal. You've done the work, you've forgiven. Now you sit and you say, how can we move forward in order for us to have this relationship that we both love? So I cannot stress that enough, that it is important to come onto the table and have a conversation with the people who you've hurt or have been hurt by you, or vice versa. As long as the two are still willing to work, do the messy business, acknowledge its importance and need, you can still walk together. So if you acknowledge, we've got to do this. This is important to Tim. That's why I'm doing it. I may not understand it. It's important to him. As long as I'm willing to do that, we can still walk together. Right? Here's something interesting. Sometimes we run away. We run away from uncomfortable situations. We run away. And sometimes we bury things away or avoid things because we are afraid to face it. Whether you were like, I don't want to keep going back to that. I don't want to be hurt again. Or you say, hey, I don't want to think about what I've done to that person. It hurts me. Whichever angle you're at, we bury them, we hide them away because we don't want to face them. Sometimes we even get angry just to avoid dealing with the pain, either ours or the other party. Why are you bringing this up? I'm tired of this. Again, I will use the apartheid conversation. And the good thing about apartheid is it is not unique to South Africa. So wherever you are in the world, you've had these conversations, you've seen these take place. Like, guys, come on. I thought we're moving. Anger can come up. Emotions of different kinds can come up. Take that first step. Take it. Take the first step. It may work out better than you thought. Right? So let's look at an example in the Bible that I love, where somebody took the first step towards reconciliation and they were surprised at what they found. Because it was not that bad. It's my favorite story, one of my favorite stories. Go read Genesis 32, Genesis 33, read all of it. This is the story between two brothers, Esau and Jacob. Just to give context, Esau, firstborn son, so Isaac's blessing, or their father's blessing, was going to pass down to him. Basically, he would be the one who gets the inheritance. So in that part of the world where they were, the firstborn son is the one who gets the inheritance. In some parts of the world, like the one we're in, the lastborn son actually is the one who gets the inheritance. But in this instance, it was the firstborn son who was due the inheritance to him. So Jacob, the brother, the younger brother, did some stuff and then he stole. Basically, go read it, but I'm paraphrasing. He stole Esau's inheritance from him, Esau's birthright from him. Whatever circumstances may have been there, he did it, right? And then we see Jacob then running away. He was away from his father's house for many, 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 many years, because he had upset his brother. He had stolen from him. Not just upset him, right? It's awful. Like, what? You've stolen from me. I remember Esau, when he came back and he said to his father, I'm here for my birthright. The father, I've already given it to your brother. But then what do I have left? He said to his father. His father says, as for you, you will serve your brother for life. Until you remove the yoke from around your neck. But we'll get to that. So, chapter 33, Genesis 33, verse 3. I'm going to read and then you can track with me. Everything is in the description, right? He himself, so now Jacob wants to go back home. Things didn't work out where he was, you will read it, but now he needs to come back home. And now he is afraid to meet his brother. He is afraid to meet this brother who he stole everything from. He's afraid. And then here's what verse 3 says. Chapter 33, verse 3. He himself went on ahead, bowed down to the ground 7 times as he approached his brother. So, just to give you more context, he sent his servants ahead of him to say, please go tell my brother Esau I'm coming. When his servants came back, they said to him, your brother said he's coming to meet you. And he's coming with 400 men to meet you. So he's afraid, he's shaking. My brother must want to kill me. I stole from him. He is coming to kill me. So he starts sending things ahead of him, gifts, what. And then eventually, his brother comes into his presence. So he himself went on ahead and bowed down to the ground 7 times as he approached his brother with his family behind him, from the favorites to the, but that's another story altogether. So with his whole family around him, he bows down to his brother. But Esau ran. He ran to meet Jacob and embraced him. As Jacob is about to bow down, Esau, the offended brother, the brother who Jacob stole from, runs towards him, embraces him. He threw his arms around his neck and kissed him. And they wept. Then Esau looked up and saw the women and the children. Who are these people, brother? Then Jacob said, they are children God has graciously given your servant. So now he's calling himself his servant. He's calling himself Esau's servant. Then the female servants and the children approached to bow down. Next Leah and her children came to bow down, and last came Joseph and Rachel, and they bowed down as well. Esau asked, what's the meaning of all these flocks and herds I met? Those gifts you sent me, my brother, what is the meaning of them? Right? And then Jacob says, to find favor in your eyes, my Lord. But Esau said, I have plenty already, my brother. Remember, he's busy calling Esau, say, my Lord, I'm your servant. But look at Esau. I already have plenty, my brother. Keep what you have for yourself. No, please, Jacob said. If I have found favor in your eyes, accept my gift from me. For to see your face is like seeing the face of God. Now that you have received me favorably, please accept the present that was brought to you. For God has been gracious to me, and I have all I need. And because Jacob insisted, Esau accepted it. There's a lot here. So Esau says, brother, you don't need to give me all those gifts. You don't need to. I have plenty more, right? I have plenty. So I'm calling you my brother. I've embraced you. You don't need to do that. But look at what Jacob says. Jacob is humbly saying, Lord, my brother, if I found favor in you, please take my gift. So there's a couple of things here. The offender, who is Jacob, is humbling himself at the feet of Esau because he knows he's done wrong. If you're the offender, humble yourself at the feet of the people you've hurt. Humble yourself and, show that you understand what you've done. The other thing that Jacob was feeling was guilt. What I love about Esau is as Jacob is bowing down, he embraces him saying, don't feel the guilt. My brother, I've already forgiven you. I've already moved on. I have plenty. You don't need to make all this amends. But the good thing is Jacob did feel the need to make amends because he did offend his brother Esau. Then Esau said, let us be on our way. I'll accompany you. I'll walk with you. What did we say? As long as people are willing to reconcile, they can still walk together. Esau said, I will accompany you. But the good thing about Esau that I want us to understand and to see is he already forgave his brother. And you will see why here. Jacob was living in fear. I'm just making a summary now for us. Because of how he had hurt Esau. But Esau had forgiven him and been restored. Now, as the one who has been offended, forgive and be restored. Genesis 27:40. This is when now Esau was coming and he asked his father after Jacob had stolen his birthright and his inheritance. He says, Father, then what is left for me? Listen to what Esau's father said to him. This is something that sometimes we miss. I love Esau, and this is why. It says, you will live by the sword, Esau, and you will serve your brother. Hey, you will live by the sword and you will serve your brother. Oh my God, I've been relegated to serve my brother. Listen to this. But, hey, Jesus, when you decide to break free, you will shake his yoke from your neck. Which neck? The neck where he said, you will serve your brother. You are under your brother. You are under your brother, Esau. But when you decide to break free, you will shake the yoke from your neck. Esau, when you decide to break free, you will no longer serve. You will no longer be under your brother. Are you guys hearing that? That makes me happy. When you've decided to break free, Esau, you will no longer be under your brother. Most people have not read this about Esau. That is why Esau, when he bumped into Jacob, he had let Jacob free. He had broken free from the offense of Jacob stealing from him. That's why he was no longer the servant, but even Jacob calls him my Lord. With 400 men just to meet a brother. That's how wealthy Esau had become. And that's because why? He broke free of the unforgiveness. Oh, remember when he left out, I'm going to kill Jacob. Oh, he stole from me. As long as he still said, I gotta kill Jacob, he stole from me, he was still under the yoke of Jacob. I don't know if you're hearing me. But as soon as he broke free, he became the wealthy man that he's telling Jacob he is right now. He became the Lord that Jacob is referring to just now. So you gotta let go. You gotta break free. Even before the embrace happens. Are you hearing me today? You've gotta break free. The reconciliation is important. By the time you embrace, break free from the bondage of what that hurt has done to you. And you will move on. And you will be successful. And you will be free of the yoke of that hurt. Amen. Most people think Esau was cursed. But his father, Isaac, promised him that when he forgives his brother, takes Jacob's yoke, unforgiveness's yoke, off of himself, he will break free from serving his brother. Now, we're going to touch more on Esau's life in the last 7 days of this journey of ours. Because if anybody is an example of forgiveness, of course we have Jesus. I mean, he's the main example in life. If there's any other person who is worthy of us to look at, to see how forgiveness has worked for him, is Esau. I respect Esau. I love Esau. We'll look at him in the last 7 days. Today, I would like us to focus on how much reconciliation is important. Because Jacob went to Esau. Esau embraced him and they made peace. Had Jacob not gone to Esau, he was going to die thinking Esau hates him. Are you hearing me today? Had Jacob not gone to Esau, he was going to think Esau wants to kill him, while Esau long ago forgave him. Reconciliation is important. I cannot stress this enough. Because of what Jacob found, Jacob himself was free, my God. He was free. Because when they left here, Esau says, no, let's go. Let's go back home, man. But Jacob is even confident enough to say, no, we'll stay here. We've got our own place. He's no longer looking behind him. What's this one saying? Looking. Hey, no. He became free as well. Because what? They made peace. So go on. Do the work. Do the hard work. We know that before Esau and Jacob met, the previous night Jacob was fighting with an angel. Hey, you gotta bless me. It's not easy. Hey, I'm not letting you go until you bless me. Because he didn't know that Esau, my friend, has already forgiven you, buddy. But he did the hard work of preparing. He did the hard work. So if God could reconcile Esau and Jacob, I don't know about you. If God could reconcile Esau and Jacob, an angry brother who was offended enough to kill, and his thieving little brother who took in his inheritance and was unrepentant. Remember, Jacob was unrepentant. I think he can do it for you. If God did it for Esau, who was so angry he wanted to kill, and Jacob, who was so thieving, so scheming and unrepentant, he can do it for you and me. Can he not? Yes, he can. So here's the practical for today. Keep having the reconciliation talks. Might be tough. Keep having the reconciliation talks. For those people who are offended and carrying the yoke of Jacob, Rabo Sotaka, free yourself of the yoke. Free yourself. Be like Esau, man. Free yourself from the yoke. Oh Lord, I forgive. Yes, see, that person stole from me. Hey, every time I look, I see that space, man. Be Esau. Free yourself from that yoke of Jacob. Forgive. The one who has offended, Go ahead and be like Jacob. Make that first move. Make the reconciliation. Keep having the hard conversations. If you care enough for the relationship, you will do it. I want to encourage you. Reconcile. It's not easy. Have those conversations. Forgive. Let yourself go from the yoke. It is not easy. But if God could do it with an angry son who had a murdering spirit, a thieving, manipulative son who was self-righteous, who had a self-righteous spirit. The worst of the worst, these two, where they were. But God brought them together, and we see them living well. If He could do it with them, He can do it with you. He can do it with me. Blessings, family.